I think to answer the question, we need to step back and ask ourselves, where does the smartness actually come from? It's certainly not the fact that we're smarter as a generation than previous generations. I think the smartness actually comes from data. Data is proficient, it's prolific, it's everywhere, and it's disruptive. So I think what ports like cities alike are doing is trying to leverage data to improve business models, business processes, and as a supply chain, leverage data as a supply chain community to make supply chains more efficient and more fluid. And so that's, and the other thing I would say, secondly, is ports are in the infrastructure black hole, I would say, in the sense that especially that's the case in mature economies. Infrastructure projects can take easily up to 10 years. So ports have, as traditional infrastructure providers, have a dilemma to, when they're faced with capacity pressures, to add either more infrastructure or make more with what they already have. And I think this is also where the smartness comes from, is trying to leverage and optimize your existing infrastructure, try to use data, technology to better control supply and demand of the port infrastructure. So basically doing more with less and using technology to enable the enhancements of these business processes to make our supply chains fluid and efficient. In logistics, there's typically three flows. There's flows of cargo, that's going fairly well. There's flows of money, most people get paid on time. But what does not circulate well in our industry is data. For example, before it launched its famous TradeLens blockchain platform, Maersk did a study a few years back and studied data flows for a container leaving Rotterdam going to Africa. And what they found was absolutely astonishing. For one single container, the administrative cost actually surpassed the physical cost of moving the container. Meaning that for a single container movement, there's up to 200 emails. There can be up to 100 people involved in the exchanges and 30 different organizations involved in the transaction. So obviously there's a data issue in our industry and data does not circulate well. So I think many ports are trying to build data communities to create efficient data exchange channels to make the data timely and to ensure that data does not become a limiting factor to cargo fluidity. I think two major things. First, for a port like Montreal, we are a small to medium-sized port in North America, and we're side by side. We're very privileged to be accompanying much bigger ports than ourselves that have much bigger innovation visions and envelopes, budgetary envelopes. So I think being next to these ports and having the opportunity to share best practice definitely fast tracks and our innovation cycle and agenda. So I think that the information that we take out of an event like this certainly has tremendous value to us. Second, I believe that as an industry, we need to come together to actually tell the story of how ports are contributing to making cities smarter. As you know, for example, ports are major generators of truck traffic. In the case of Montreal, just for containers only, we process between 1,800 to 2,000 trucks per day. So obviously that's a major irritant for a city. So we're here to tell the story of how digital can really improve the port-city relationship. And as we walk into the digital era, I think that there's a story to tell, and we need to tell it as an industry because each individual port is really good at marketing their innovative smart solutions, but rarely do we see the industry come together to bring that message across, and I believe that's important.